Hey, Anthony, good evening, and thank you for taking my video call.
What's good, man? What's good?
Well, we're all at home, as you know, during this pandemic. So the club has been doing some video calls, recording them, and sharing them on social media for the purpose of sharing Lamborghini stories, sharing the enthusiasm of the brand, and trying to create a little bit of an upbeat attitude while everybody's down. And then to also bring across a message for a charity that benefits the CDC Foundation. So you were on our list of people to reach out to. You're a strong Lamborghini advocate and a huge car guy in general, and you were a perfect person for us to reach out to. So here we are.
Right on, man. Good to be here. Good to talk about crazy cars that make sense to guys like us and girls.
So what got you into the supercars in the beginning?
Honestly, what really got me into supercars early on, and you're going to hear this from a lot of old cats like me, Miami Vice. I cannot lie to you, but I wasn't a fan of the white Testarossa so much. Although I did have a black one, the Lamborghini. There was one bad guy. I'm not sure if it was Wesley Snipes or not, but there was a bad guy that had a black Countach. Oh my goodness! I knew when I saw that, I'm like, that's just nasty. I loved it. It was like the sinner was in the house.
So when would that have been? The late 80s?
Probably mid to late 80s. Excuse me.
Cool. So what differentiated the Lamborghini brand between the other exotics that were out at the time? You know, there was some other cool stuff. There were some pretty hot Porsches, Ferraris.
What differentiated Lamborghini from other exotics was they didn't mind being the bad boy. And that's what I liked about it. Everybody was trying to, and they still do, try to fit into a nice little niche, little spot where they're acceptable to those who hate exotics. I never have understood that. Those who hate exotics will always hate exotics. And I think Lamborghini understands that to this day, which is why I always have to own one, preferably a 12.
Okay. What do you own right now?
I have an Aventador right now, but I am waiting for the Aventador replacement, and I realize, find some wood. Hopefully I'll get one early.
Well, we'll see what we can do to help you from the club side.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that.
That's your fourth Lamborghini, the Aventador?
Let's see. Yeah, I had two. Let's see. I had two Diablos. I had a black 91 and a black 94. And then I think I skipped all the way. No, that's my fourth. You're right. Then I had the LP 640.
Okay.
And then this Aventador. Yeah, so this is my fourth.
I remember when you and I met about 10 years ago, I also had an orange Murcielago. And that's kind of how you and I got to start talking at that event in Orange County.
I do remember that. And one thing about the Mercy, I must say, Lamborghini, you know what? I'm going to look right at you guys. Lamborghini, please bring back the little digital numbers on the dash that prove how fast you've been. I know it's immature, it's bad, the cops hate it. Please bring that back. Oh my God, I miss that.
That was a cool feature on the cars that told the top speed.
Yeah.
And of course, you only use that on the track. So
Yeah. Top speed is something you only use on the track. Maybe salt flats, something like that. That's about it.
Right, of course. So speaking of that, on the track, what speed have you gotten up to in the Diablos, the Mercy, and the Aventador? And what was the feeling like driving those cars, comparing them to each other? Because they represent some significant changes in the company. You know, the Diablo came out, it was all Lamborghini.
Yeah.
The Murcielago comes out, that's under Audi influence. Then the Aventador comes out, and that was the first time in 50 years that they had kind of redesigned the V12.
I'm glad you asked this question because it's very interesting because to me, it was four very, very, very different phases for me. I had a 91 Diablo, two-wheel drive. It was the first gen. I usually don't do the first year of any new car, but I'm a Lambo fan and that thing had a sick look. I had to get it. Then I went to the 94, very different car. same wicked looks, but far more drivable, more manageable. But when I got the Mercy, that was the first time I felt like, okay, I can step on this thing and not worry about checking out tomorrow morning. So I really started to use the car more. And again, it's important to remember, most of these guys that talk exotic cars are full of you know what. This, you know, tell me I could cuss, so I won't. But they're little weekend race car drivers. But they talk like they're, you know, experts. They're not. Most of us are just guys that do something else for a living, and we want to have fun on a weekend. And I felt like I could have fun in that car. I could take the LP640 out to the track, do what I wanted to do. And then when I got the Aventador, then I did kind of feel like Superman, I have to admit. I did think I was a real race car driver until I ran up against one. That didn't go well.
Right. Yeah, our ownership experience is similar. My first Lamborghini was a 94 Diablo, the VT.
Yeah.
And then I got the orange Murcielago, and instead of going to an Aventador, I have a 2010 Gallardo now, the Valentino Balboni edition.
There you go. You keep that one. Don't sell that one. That's going to have some value.
So also, aside from the Valentino Balboni sign, I have a collection of scale models in the basement here, my little Lamborghini office.
Look at you.
Yeah, I've got that same orange Mercy that you and I both had.
There you go. I got some scale model. I got a scale model Diablo, and I do have a Mercy also, somewhere around here. I don't know. I just moved in here like 3 years ago, so I'm probably still unpacking.
So your Diablos were obviously both manual gearboxes.
Yep.
I remember your Murcielago was an e-gear. Of course, your Aventador is an e-gear. Which driving experience do you prefer? I know they're completely different cars, but which one do you enjoy more as, you know, part of the Lamborghini experience and, you know, driving on the road or the track?
Honestly, I prefer the e-gear. And, you know, I know a lot of my friends are like, you know, the macho dudes, you know, I got hair on my chest and a big gold chain or whatever. I'm not tripping. Give me that e-gear. Whop! And especially, you know, it took me probably a year in my Aventador because I drive in sport mode most of the time because I like to, when I get off gas, I like to hit oh, God. Man, when I hear that, man, that's all worth it. The backfiring, I call it farting, but the backfiring I just love. But when I went to, what is it? You have Corsa. What is it called? The fastest mode?
It's Corsa.
That is Corsa. Yeah. When I go to Corsa, that shift, when you're full throttle, pow! Oh my goodness, it's like someone like Bruce Lee kicking in the back of the head. That right there to me is the most visceral feedback I've ever felt from a car. And then get off gas and hear the popping and backfiring, and oh my God, man. That this Aventador, I have a 13.
Okay.
And I almost bought an 18. But the 18, the backfiring and popping was really controlled. You could count them. It was 5 pop, stop. You know, you get off the gas, I'm like, no. I wanted to pop, 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 pop. Oh my God. If I'm getting the next version, I don't know what it'll be called, but when I get that, I definitely want that exhaust Lamborghini. Hook me up.
So here's one for you. You're obviously into music. It's a big part of your life. And I believe you do a lot with sound engineering and effects and things like that.
Yeah.
What do you think about the electrification that is inevitable for cars? Because that's obviously going to change our experience, especially how you just described your experience to be.
It is going to change it. But one thing about me, I'm always a forward-leaning cat. So, you know, I mean, I'm recording on computers. I was told one day you'll never get off a tape, but I did. Not only did I get off, I don't miss it at all. So, but sound, something about an exotic for me has to be politically correct. The looks obviously always will be with Lamborghini. I have no doubt about that. I saw that electric thing they have out. I don't know what they call this thing. There's a video with some chick standing out there with a bunch of kids and they're going crazy. And I'm like, that Lamborghini is electric and I would drive it. But I do want some feedback, but I don't like this piped in sound from another car being piped in. No. Give me a Star Warsy, real high pitch, you know, egg blender on steroids, I'd probably be happy over time. Plus, if somebody laughed at me, they'd only be laughing by themselves because they'd be still sitting at the light. You know what I mean?
True.
Yeah.
So what's the car scene like up in Seattle? I've only been up there a couple times. We went to the Carbon Fiber Lab,
Yeah.
which was 8 or 9 years ago. We hung out at that.
Yeah, I'm kind of an electronic like wonk. I love electronics. So I remember going when I went up to the lab at the UW. The first thing I'm wondering, I wanted to see the dielectric strength of carbon fiber. And at the
that's right,
time,
Yeah.
yeah, they were doing the lightning strikes and
Yep.
high voltage and that was before I had never seen chopped carbon before then. And I had a feeling they're going to integrate this. They're going to put this in the cars. And sure enough, now we have chopped carbon. So I don't know. Not hearing that noise, I'm still thinking about that question. Oh my God, a Lambo with no noise. That ain't right. I'll make them some fake noise. That's what I'll do. I got an idea. I'll make them some fake noise that basically responds to the accelerator. Outside and inside. Put a big ass speaker outside. I get beat on my stomach. There you go.
I think you'd be the right man for it.
Yeah, no. In all seriousness, I am a car guy. I just try not to talk like one. I got to be honest. And you were talking about the car scene in Seattle.
The video you did, which I absolutely love, as well as all of my other friends in the Lamborghini community, Cars.
Yeah. They
tell
call
us
me
about that?
Mr. Lamborghini.
I love that video when it came out. You had mentioned that, and I think extended an invitation to come up for the shoot, and
Yeah.
I didn't come up there. I wish I would have, Anthony. That was awesome.
Well, I knew that if you showed up, you'd bring a lot of Lamborghinis. But
Right.
it's an idea, since I got in the music business, you have everybody has these weird thresholds where they more money, more this, MTV cribs. That's not me. I'm not that kind of cat. My dad was a sheet metal worker. My mom was a nurse, so I stay grounded. But I always wanted, because of Miami Vice, I always wanted to shoot a video with a lot of exotic cars. But I had rules. No rentals, no borrowed stuff, no dealers, none of that. You had to own the car to get in the video. Every car in that video was owned. It was not or leased or whatever, but it was not some borrowed stuff off of a lot with a bunch of professional drivers. No, we went out and rented an airstrip, and pretty much everybody that went down that strip other than the Rolls-Royce Phantom that Tom had, I think did about $150.
Speaking of Tom, how did he feel about that scene in the beginning where you pulled him out of his Murcielago SV?
Yeah. We wanted to do something where, I was, Tom wanted to do that. That was Tom's idea, to actually sit there and say, dude, I want you to cuss me out and yank me out of a car. I'm like, you do realize I'm black, bro. I mean, that could be, you know what I mean?
Right.
And he played along. He played along well. He acted like he was digging in my car, and I drug him out of there. And that video, it wasn't supposed to blow up. I thought, there's no way in the world. YouTube was kind of new. Not new, but, they just started really racking up numbers. And I didn't think it would blow up like that. And, I mean, it went to over 1.5 million quickly. And then there was some YouTube rule that we did something and got too many something, and song couldn't be number one for X amount of time. And all of a sudden, our numbers were squashed down, but then they went right back up. So, no biggie.
Yeah. It's just my observation, but I feel like a large part of that audience was the car community. Was that what you were targeting with that video?
Yes.
Or
yes.
were you not targeting anyone? It was just something for fun.
So when I did the song Cars, people that know me for more than Posse on Broadway, more than Baby Got Back, not the simple rhymes. People that know me know that I'll say, you lost to the boss and got knocked off, rip off rhymes get tossed because they all saw. So step off horses, sip on the mixed sauce, cost to be the boss, paid with a right cross, right? I would do that with no hesitation, and I do that live. I don't have my lyrics playing under me. When I did that song, those fans got mad at me. They were like, really, dude? Because I'm rapping so slow. Why did I rap slow? Because I wanted people who didn't listen to rap to go, yeah, dude, I'm feeling that. They knew what I was talking about. I kept the words nice and slow. I mentioned aspects of cars that would turn people on. You know, when I said Aston Martin DBS, that vroom with the pops, that was an actual Aston Martin. So any car guy would know that was a real Aston, you know? And the Lambo noises, the motor noises when we're going down the strip in that diamond formation in which one of us couldn't keep up. I'm not going to say Nick's name, but yeah, he couldn't keep up. Anyway, all that stuff was real car stuff. So while it alienated people who wanted to see me take that leap forward lyrically as far as speed and skills and all that, it was a step back for them, but it was a step forward for me personally. And I'm really happy that the car guys understood it. That was awesome.
Yeah, they understood it, and they also saw the authenticity in the message you brought across. I
Yeah,
think
they
you
did.
knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, they knew I wasn't a poser, because I'm not going to say names, but there's a lot of rappers. I ain't going to say no names, but I've seen them. How do you own a car and you're not quite sure what it is? But I'll just say that. I've seen that a few times on some interviews where cats had a F40 and called it an F50. You know, I saw one cat with a Diablo. He called it a Countach. I was like, wow, okay. So yeah, I didn't want to come off like that. I wanted to come off as authentic, and car guys said, that dude's for real.
So your first couple albums, all the way through to today, cars are an important theme in your music.
Yeah.
Was it that way even before you came out with your first album? Or how did the cars and music come together for you?
You know, I rapped about cars before I even owned them. So you can go back to Swass and you know, back then, you know, a Cadillac I actually did own, and an old 82 Trans Am I actually did own. Other than that, I didn't own any of the stuff I talked about. So the black Benz limo with the cellular phone, yeah, right. So I didn't own any of them, but I knew I would, you know. And I'm not as dumb as I used to be with cars. I used to have 15 cars at one time.
Wow.
Yeah, I bought the cars, then I built a garage to hold them. That's how dumb I was.
Now that first album, Swass, it had Posses on Broadway.
Yeah.
So that song, when that came out in the late 80s, you had that line, getting good grip from the 50 series tires.
Yeah, the Pirellis,
I didn't know. I did not know what that meant at the time, but I knew when I turned 16 in a couple of years that I needed to have 50 series tires.
Yeah, in that era, the 50 series was the lowest profile tire you could get.
Yeah.
And I said that at a time when rappers were doing 100 spokes, Daytons, knockoffs, and by knockoffs I mean the rim, not fake cars.
Yep.
But they were doing knockoff stuff like that and riding on Vogues, White Walls, and all that. I was already on the exotics even before I could own them, and I bought my first exotic in 1987. Yeah.
Okay, and what was that? Was that a Porsche, the 911 you had?
No, that was a black-on-black Ferrari Testarossa.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Good car.
Yeah. So is that the one you mentioned on Mac Daddy? You had the song about it, Testarossa?
Yeah, so I did this song, and that was the first time people actually heard me actually rap beyond what they knew, you know, because you hear Posse and Broadway's like, me and Kid Sensation. And well, Testarossa, each gear, I go faster and faster and faster and faster. So when I get to gear 5, you know, it's like, gear number 5, your eyes get wide, so realize that I survived mine and rhyme, all that stuff. I'm just going on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Same thing. Up to 4th gear, the speed increase. Police got beef from the word sheet. Move or lose, I excuse the whack dudes. You light my fuse and clear out or get used. I go 155. No need to lip sync. I'm straight up live. Ain't nobody saying that no more, are they? Yeah, so that's what I would do. I wanted to do that, and I used Testarossa as an excuse, and the song was like 6 minutes long, 7 minutes long. I didn't give a damn about radio play at all.
So I have to ask, and I'll explain why. Why didn't you do a song called Diablo? Because on the album cover was a black Diablo that you were sitting in.
Yeah.
So let me tell you a story of how I came in contact with that album. It just come out at the music store. I was at the mall, and I was familiar with who you were because of the previous two albums you did. You know, with My Hoopty, Posse on Broadway. I was all about Sir Mix-a-Lot, but I didn't know anything about the new album. I see you have a black Diablo on the cover. I love Lamborghini, and that was my purchase decision right there. Lamborghini, Sir Mix-a-Lot, I'm on it. I bought the tape, okay? I get home, pop it in the tape deck, or maybe my Walkman. I start going through the songs. I get to this one called Testarossa. I'm like, Testarossa, what do you mean? I was expecting Diablo.
Yeah, well, let me tell you what happened. This is how that happened. I'm going to rewind and tell you how I ended up having a Diablo on the cover of an album, Mac Daddy, that had a song called Testarossa. How in the hell does that happen? Well, I'm going to tell you how. I bought the Testarossa first, right? That was my first exotic. I went down to Florida. They didn't have a Lamborghini dealer in Seattle yet. So I went down to Florida and I test drove, I think it was an 87 Countach. And I ain't a small brother, okay? And it was about 85, 86 degrees and humid in Miami. By the time I closed the door and opened that little mail slot so I could breathe, I was already sweating. I was literally, I used to think people were posers when they had the doors up at the red light. Guess what I was doing? Sitting at the red light with my guy I'm test driving with the doors up, man. I couldn't even breathe. So I said, you know what? I really do like I was getting ready to say Diablo. I really do like the Countach, especially that anniversary model. That was crazy. It was fins and cuts and vents everywhere. But I said, you know what? I'm going to get the Testarossa for now, but I don't want that white one because it's just a little soft looking to me. So I got the black one. Now, remember, I'm a Lamborghini guy first. Right before I started Mac Daddy, here comes this Diablo. 1991 Diablo, black. It was sitting at a place called Don L. Leasing in Florida. Never will forget it because you couldn't get them here yet. I took my black ass all the way down there, wrote that check, shipped the car home. Of course, I had to trade it. Now, if I had the money, I would have kept both cars, but I had to trade in the Testarossa to get it. That's how that happened. Traded in the TR, got the Diablo, had to have the Diablo on the cover, even though I did a song called Testarossa, because I'm really a Lamborghini dude that's owned a lot of Ferraris. Is that even possible?
So when you brought the car back to Seattle, how did the local community react to having a Diablo up there? Because you probably had the first one in the area, right?
Yes, I know. I know I did. Trust me. So I got to tell you this story. I know I had the first Diablo in the state because when the truck pulled up, it didn't pull up at my house. Wouldn't drop it at my house. My insurance agent, she was so worried, dude. And she's like, I don't know what this thing is. It comes in very high on our sheets here. Could you please have it dropped off here so we can go over the car? So I bring it, they drop it off. They drop it off there. Here come these experts looking at my car like they had never seen one before. So when they look at it, they're going, oh yeah, those are wheels. Yeah, tires. Yeah, bumper. Looks good. You know, I mean, she had no idea what was going on. I got pulled over a lot because I refused to drill a hole in my bumper and put a license plate on it. There's no way. I'll take a ticket every day before I drill a hole in my bumper. So it was definitely the first Diablo. And everybody was like, what is that? That is the coolest thing. And, you know, back then, because the cell phones were just kind of being heard of in 1991. So when cell phones got slimmer, everybody said, your cell phone looks like a Diablo. It wasn't the other way around, right? I love that. It's like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Motorola copied Lambo. Let's sue them. It was an interesting thing to own a car that nobody else had in the state. Even when I bought my 94, I don't remember seeing anybody in the state with a Lambo. I know they were here because I heard about them, but I never saw them.
So did you go through any of that business of getting all the cellular phone equipment installed in any of your cars in the early 90s when all this started happening with the technology and the mobile phones?
I got a cellular phone put in my truck. I got a cellular phone put in my sedan. But if you put a stereo or a cell phone, a fixed cell phone in an exotic, stop driving exotics. All right? Go buy you a dually and just go on about your business because you're a poser. Man, why listen to music when you can hear that? Oh, come on, man. That's music to me. When that engine's up, get above like 6,000, it starts just, I love that noise, man. So me personally, I don't listen to nothing in my car but the car. If you call me, any of you, ladies, I don't care how sexy you are, and yes, I'm old and I should be begging you for a date. But I'm telling you, my old fat ass would have to ignore you until I hit a light or a restaurant. Other than that, no. I don't touch my phone when I'm driving an exotic. Never, 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 never. I remember one time trying to listen to some music in the Aventador I have now. Couldn't hear it. I couldn't hear it because I had a choice. I could go down to Strata, which is like, I don't know, Hugo mode? I don't know what you call it, Chevrolet mode? I don't know what it is. Just, I don't even know why that exists unless you're pulling up to a library and you don't want to disturb the children, which you will when they see the car anyway. So I can go down to that mode, but if I'm in sport, I can't hear it at all, nor do I want to. Everybody goes, man, that Lambo needs some subs in it. Really? Really? You put subs in a Lambo? That's what I meant. Posers.
Yeah.
Can't stand that.
Well, Strata mode is good for coming home at night, not to wake up your neighbors.
And I do that. I do that. Sometimes I come home and, especially the way mine pops and crackles. I'll pull into my gate because my driveway is like 600 feet. So I pull in, pop, 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 pop. And then it's just click. And that sounds like an electric car going up this. So that everybody's looking to see if somebody got shot, and they don't realize that I'm creeping into my garage at the same time.
So you're really into the car scene, obviously. You've been to a lot of events. You and I have been to some events together like Monterey,
Yep.
some things down in Orange County driving, up in Seattle. What's your favorite event, if you had to pick one that happens every year, every couple of years, or?
That's interesting because if you asked me this post 2010, but prior to the last time I went, I would tell you Monterey.
Okay.
But there's some things I saw in Monterey the second time I came, which I don't know if that was 2012 or 13. I can't remember. But there were some things then that maybe I went around the wrong people that second time. So I would say Monterey, but honestly, I like Redmond Town Center. And I'm not saying it because I'm being a homer. I'm not saying it because it's, Vic and Tom, my friends, running it. That has nothing to do with that. What I like about it is posers don't even waste your time showing up. We don't deal with snobs. If you walk in and go, we want to park next to that. No, we put our Ferraris, our Lambos, the Porsches, everything has a section. Not because we're trying to be separatists, but when people come in, they can walk and go view Ferraris. They can go over and view Porsches. They can go down and look at Lamborghinis. They can look at classics, muscle, whatever they want to look at. And you can sit in a lot of the cars. You can talk to the owners. They'll shake your hands. They're not arrogant. The owners are all self-made. Not a lot of trust fund babies. Maybe that's what that is. God, I'm stereotyping a lot today. How'd I quit that?
Yeah, when you mentioned Monterey, it's a big place. It's an international event, bringing people from all over the world, all over the country. There's a lot of different groups there. But I'm sure you had a good time with us at our Saturday night Lamborghini Club party, right?
Oh, yeah. First of all, anything that Lamborghini does, what I like about Lamborghini, you guys are smart as a corporation too. Because, okay, I'm talking to this camera because I want the execs at Lamborghini to know that I know what you do. And I like it. Because what you do is, Lamborghini parties are the best parties at any car club, period. Maybe Corvettes, they're kind of crazy. But let's just say for now, of the exotics, Lamborghini, you guys get out of the way. You let crazy ass Andrew and crazy ass Joy, I call her Frosty, she'll tell you why privately, but when those people run the party, it is, I tell you what, you go into one, I'm not gonna say the other brand, the one that opposes Lamborghini so much, violins. They're playing violins and opera music and people have white gloves on standing next to the car like this. Hello, this is the F40, 1990. Come on, man, nobody wanna hear that mess. Lamborghini parties, people get in it. Don't let Roy Katz in. Oh my goodness. Roy Katz will bring the house down. He's a complete maniac. So yeah, I would have to say Lamborghini parties are the best exotic parties you can go to, period.
Of course, I agree. And our Lamborghini Club party, Joy is the architect of sorts that put that together as far as the design of the event.
Yeah.
You know, so she deserves a shout out for that. Why don't we call her and see what she's up to?
You know what she needs?
What's that?
Joy needs a nice kind of like a convertible Huracan that she can just customize. Maybe I could call my connects at Lamborghini, 0, and say, hey, y'all build Joy a nice car.
Yeah, that's
might
a
not
good
go well.
question. Let's dial her up here on the conference call.
Oh, you got her number? Oh, I'm jealous.
You got her number too.
No, I don't.
That brings up another question. So let's get her on the line and we'll find out what she's up to. She's in Bangkok still. She goes there in the winter times and she got stuck there with this whole pandemic thing going on.
Poor baby. Poor baby.
Yeah, it's only 85 degrees there. I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, poor
she's
Joy.
suffering.
She's stuck in Bangkok. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's call her up, see how she's suffering.
All right, let me add her to the conference call here. See if she'll take our call. I think she's about 12 hours off from me, so it's 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning.
Hey, Anthony. Hey, Andrew. How's it going? Thanks for calling
Going
me.
on, Frosty?
Andrew, have you gone through the rapid fire questions for Anthony?
No, we haven't got there yet. We actually been covering a lot of topics and a lot of good conversation, but your name came up, so I figured we'd give you a call and see what's going on.
Oh.
We're at that point in the interview if you want to do the rapid fire questions, because I probably never do it right, so.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to put
fire.
Anthony in the hot seat.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Lamborghini model of all time?
So far, the Aventador. Preferably a Spider, because I don't have one. Or, I'm sorry, a Roadster. Don't want to make nobody
Roadster.
mad. Yes.
Jet set or road trip?
Road trip.
Road trip. Okay, in this road trip, who's sitting shotgun in your Aventador Spider?
Nobody.
Roadster.
Because that's where I put my luggage. I ride alone.
Nice. Okay, more fun. Automatic or manual?
See, I don't consider e-gear automatic, but some people do. It can be automatic, but I'll say e-gear. You know, you're not supposed to
E-gear,
say.
okay.
Yes, it's not an automatic.
Okay, and we all know you like junk in the trunk. What's the one tool that you always have in your Lamborghini trunk?
Car wax and extra rags. That's it. Nothing else fits, really,
it?
to be honest with you. Can't throw a dead body in there.
You've tried. Okay.
Yeah.
Out of all the cars you've owned, what's the best and worst?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably because now I got to talk about my dailies, right? So if I look at dailies and everything, probably I'd say a Mercedes S-Class. And the worst one I've ever had, oh God, I hope I don't piss anybody off when I say this, but
Say it.
it was an 87 Corvette.
Huh.
I'm not that Corvettes are bad. That particular one, oh, scratch that. No. Actually, the worst car I ever had, I know I only got 2 minutes, I had a Ford Maverick.
Hey, Ford.
It broke down before I got it home, and I'm not exaggerating. I kept it 3 days. I got the lemon law. First car I ever owned, lemon law.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beyonce or Kim Kardashian?
Beyonce.
Beyonce. There's a movie of you coming out. What actor plays you?
Tracy Morgan. Only because Tracy Morgan
That's
is
perfect.
Tracy Morgan is the only guy that does the self-deprecating. You know, he'll talk about having his gut in a way that would be funny as hell. So yeah, Tracy Morgan. And
That's
Tracy Morgan likes
perfect.
cars, although he wrecked his Bugatti before he even got around the block.
How many times do you think you've performed Baby Got Back?
25,000.
No, it has to be more than that.
I don't know.
Tons.
I can't, I only do it once per show. So I don't know, 25, 30,000. I don't know. I have no idea. I know this, that I could perform it to bongos. I've done it so much.
Yeah.
I come from the
All
old
right,
school too. We do not lip sync.
No. You're well known for your signature Pimp Daddy Stetson hat. Where did that come from?
I grew up in what was then the ghetto. Of course, gentrification has since changed that. But I grew up in the central area in Seattle, 19th and Yesler, baby, Bryan Manor Apartments. Across the street from that was a place, it was a cafe, Sammy's Cafe, God rest her soul, but pimps were always there. I'm talking about Cadillacs. What do they say? Pimping hoes and slamming Cadillac doors. They were everywhere. So when my mom wasn't looking, because she didn't like that, when my mom wasn't looking, we would pick up game. And we just go over there and just listen to them talk and try to copy them, which is really where Mix-a-Lot came from, right? It's not that I was pimping, but I was so close to it, and they take you under their wing. Come on, young blood, sit up in this Cadillac. I'm like, oh. So how did I end up liking Lamborghinis? I think about that. Why did I not like Cadillacs? Although I've had a couple of Cadillacs, but nah, that's where it came from. I saw the real ones, baby. I was right there.
Sir Mix-a-Lot. There's been talks of where that name came about. Put rumors to the rest. Where did that name came from? I
didn't have a name, couldn't think of anything. And one day I was up, I used to DJ at the Rotary Boys and Girls Club on 19th and Spruce, which was like the middle of the hood at the time. And everybody else did turntables, right? And I was poor in those days, so I didn't have the Technics 1200s, couldn't afford them. So I bought these little Newmarks that were belt driven, and I put the wax paper down under it so I could scratch using the wax paper to slip. So then I started adding synthesizers, and I get old drum machines and repair them because I was really into electronics. And then I would redo songs live. So back in the day, I might be playing Freakazoid, and then the little vocoder part, Z-O-I-D-S, I would actually do it on a vocoder and change the whole song, and people would be dancing like, what the hell? Because back then, people didn't do those crazy remixes, and I would do that, and this cat said, can I cuss at all?
Yes.
Okay, this guy said, basically, damn, bro, you mix a lot of shit. That's where it came from. Honestly, I just said, yeah, mix a lot. And then I added the sir because of Lancelot.
Sir.
That's really it. Really, not. Yeah. I wish I had a better story for you, like I got dubbed or knighted or something, but although they say I did.
Okay. They say that cars represent traits of the owner. What traits does your Aventador represent about you?
Misinterpreted, underestimated, and hung like a bull. I had to add that in. I'm just joking. No, but really, yeah. It's misinterpreted quite often. Lambos are. People think they're just cars that make a lot of noise, and now cats trying to go around a Nuremberg ring and catch them. Oops.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oops. Okay. Who inspires you?
Well, outside of my mom, I'm gonna pick somebody. I'm gonna zoom out. I'm not really one of the guys that only looks at people older than me. Obviously, I could say Muhammad Ali and all that stuff. That's really big. But I'm gonna bring it down a little bit. What inspires me now as an African American is really watching guys like LeBron James. And I'm very serious when I say this, and I know I only have 2 minutes, but I'm watching brothers now who are doing things that guys my age are just starting to do. Producing content, owning networks, not networks, but owning production companies and things of that sort, and leveraging his brand to help the next generation out. And that's something that in my era, in the music, at the peak of my peak in the music industry, you didn't have that power. They would give you a label, they'd give you a name, but no power came with it. That's just real talk. So I love the fact that this generation, Jay-Z's another one, who they took that and went to the next level. I love Jay-Z, what Jay-Z's doing with the NFL. Did anybody notice you had 2 Hispanic women singing the Super Bowl? You think that happened by accident? No, it didn't. And I think it's really cool to see some of these cats that came from where I came from, but stepped it to another level, and I love it.
What advice would you tell your 15-year-old self today?
Buy less cars. Let me tell you something. I have a video, y'all, and it's a little naughty. It's on the R-rated side. I have a video called "Put 'Em on the Glass." Watch that video. Those were the cars I actually owned. This wasn't some homies driving in. No, the Viper, the two Ferraris, the BMW sedan and a 600 Benz sedan and a Bentley and all. You know, why did I need 3 sedans and I rode by myself 90% of the time? I had so many cars, I can't even remember them all. I had a 348 Spider. I had the 2 Diablo. Well, no, I had the Diablo. I had the 94 Diablo at the time. It was just car after car after car after car after car. Dumbest thing ever, because you can't drive them all. I would never do that again. And I ended up dealing with the IRS. It still hurts. It still hurts. Yeah, that was ugly, but I needed that. Slapped me around a little bit.
Yeah, so that's good advice to give to your 15-year-old self.
Save your money.
So last question. You call yourself Mr. Lamborghini in your Cars song. Do you have a nickname in your circle of close friends?
I have a bunch of friends that are so lazy they don't like words with more than one syllable. So my nickname is just Mix. I mean, hey, Mix. They don't call me Anthony. They don't call me Mix-a-Lot. They don't call me Sir Mix-a-Lot. Mix. Mix. Yeah, Mix, can you do this? Mix. Yeah, Mix got it. I sometimes actually sign my checks Mix. You know, it doesn't work, but I try. So yeah, I don't really, it's kind of weird with me is like when people get around me, they have these kind of unrealistic expectations of who I am or what I'm gonna be. And then when they meet me and I take them out to my shop and I got CNC machines and I build amplifiers and I wired my own studio and I'm a studio geek. I mean, you see all the gear I got in here, it's insane.
Yeah.
They respect it, but then they think he must not be doing too well. They mistake the fact that I'm not flamboyant for he must be struggling. And you know, once they come out here, they know I'm not. But I mean, before they get here, they think, I don't know, we might be going to a 1-bedroom hut somewhere. And they see it and they go, well, how are you still making this much money? And it's really weird because you're not selling records. Well, something's selling. I mean, but I manage my stuff pretty well. I got a good publishing deal. I handled that stuff. And I think people are they're disappointed initially, and then later on they're inspired almost sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, there's recently, you just did a collaboration with Cards Against Humanity. I mean, you're relevant. You're just
the ass pack.
Every time the ass pack. When I saw that come up on my Google feed, I was like, what is Anthony up to? What is he doing?
You know what's funny is that I wasn't going to do it at first. And then so many of my friends were like, you're considering not dealing with cards? Are you crazy?
Yeah.
So I did that. I did this popcorn thing for GH Creators, a company that's so cool. They sent me every popcorn sound in their factory. And they said, here, make music out of that. You know how hard that was to actually make music out of popcorn? But I did.
That's crazy.
Had the big thing chopping a 50-pound block of butter, and I used all those. That was my kick drum. Boom, boom. You know, and I had all the pop noises for hi-hats, and it was pretty slick. That was a lot of fun.
So yeah, all the
lot
fun
of brands.
stuff.
Target and Nestle and a whole bunch of people.
And then brands that don't even have any affiliation with you. I don't know if you saw on NBC a couple weeks ago. What was it, like the reveal of the mask? Sarah Palin?
Oh yeah, Sarah Palin,
oh
masked singer.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
she was like,
singer.
She unmasked and then she sang Baby Got Back.
Again.
I was stunned. Yeah.
Yeah, she did. And she inserted fellas. Yeah, fellas. You know, she changed it all. It was all about fellas and stuff like that. It was like surprising And for some reason, everybody that saw that thinks that me and Sarah Palin hang out. Like, she sang my song. It doesn't mean, yeah.
When somebody uses your stuff, do they reach out to you ahead of time? For
Oh, yeah.
example, a movie I like, The Wolf of Wall Street, it's a few years old now. There was a scene where they had Baby Got Back.
Yeah,
Do they reach out to you and ask permission
they reach
ahead
out
of
to
time?
us. Yeah, they reach out to you, and the key really, and this is what I mean, but I tell a lot of artists this, is that if you have a hit and you're lucky enough to own your publishing, why own it if you never leverage it?
Yeah.
Doesn't make a lot of sense. I know some artists that just own it and go, no, 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 no. And I understand it's their art. But I not only leverage it, but I try to make the licensing process seamless. I can remix stuff right here. So if a guy or a company says, hey, look, we want you to do this to the song, take this, slow this down, turn the words backwards, whatever they want, I do it and I deliver quickly. Because I've been on the other side of that fence. And when you're working with brands, they're on deadlines. They're looking at their watch while they're on the phone with you. And so I try to deliver, and I try to deliver quick and often. You'll find this I've noticed about all successful people, just about all of them. If they thought about being successful before, they never get there. That's you have to have a passion for something.
Yeah.
Like I do this stuff and this studio stuff, I would do this. I do it free every day. I mix songs for people just because I want to stay in practice. I make new beats. I got like 50 new beats. I haven't even went out to find an artist to spit on them yet. I just love what I do, and I've noticed that anybody that does anything, including the real Mr. Lamborghini, that was somebody told him, take your tractors and kiss my you know what. And he said, all right, you'll be seeing me again. And now here's some black dude bragging on him. There you go.
So Anthony, another question that I had for you. What do you like about the Lamborghini brand in the early days and the modern Lamborghini brand if you had to just pick a couple things from each era?
Obviously, I think the first Lamborghini was born the same year I was born, 63, I think. And what I liked about it, although I wasn't born yet, but what I liked about it was how it was born. Now, I realize it's probably urban legend now. It's probably, the Loch Ness Monster. But if the legend is true, that he offered Enzo some advice, and Enzo said, stick to tractors. If that's what gave birth to Lamborghini, I'm loving that story. And I'm going to stick with that story until somebody corrects me. And please, anybody that knows a better story or knows the quote unquote truth and it's not that, don't tell me. Because I think that rebellious nature is what I love about Lamborghini. Every time somebody says, I'm done with cars that go vroom too loud, they get louder. I love it because there's always somebody out there for that kind of car. So that's what I loved about them then and now. Honestly, they still do it. But I think that the coupling with Audi has given them more tools to work with. And some people would say the downside of that is that the fact that Lamborghini and Audi got together gave Audi a cheat sheet. And this is why they have the R8, and I have an RS7 also. So I have the sister to the Lambo outside. I got the Aventadors in one bay, RS7 in the other.
I think you make some great points, but they both got something from the deal. And I think
definitely.
the brands needed each other. For Lamborghini to survive and become a modern, competitive brand in today's world, they needed the modernization from Audi. So there was a real synergy there.
Yeah, as soon as somebody told me Lamborghinis are going to partner with a German company, I didn't know what company yet. I was like, yes, I'm in, because I've always been a fan of German cars. I've owned probably 15 Mercedes, about 12 BMWs, 4 Porsches. So I've always been a big fan of German cars. And you mix a swirl in 3 parts Lamborghini, oh my goodness. Love it, love it.
What you mentioned about the early days of the brand, I believe that to be the true story. I've had a few opportunities to meet factory old-timers that were around during the early days of the brand, guys that came from the tractor company in the early 60s, and in 63, they came over to the car brand, and they were the first there building engines and starting with the cars. And I've heard that same story from those old Lamborghini workers. So I believe it to be true 100%.
Yeah, I
know,
mean, you hear it too much. I mean, I think I saw it on TV somewhere, and I love it. I think instead of Ford versus Ferrari, they should have did Lambo versus Ferrari. That would have been a cool story to watch.
Yeah, and I think it's still a huge potential for a movie for that. Somebody should take it on.
Yeah, even
Something for you
if
to do.
it's a Netflix, I'd be all over it because I don't get me wrong, I like Ferraris also, and I've had a bunch of them. I've had two 430s, Testarossa. I have had a 612, a bunch of, I can't even remember, a 360, two of those. Yeah, so I had a few of those, but the only reason I've had more Ferraris than Lamborghinis is because they have more models. But
Okay.
if they had more model Lamborghinis, I would have way more Lamborghinis on my stat sheet. That's for sure.
So what was your first touch point with Lamborghini? Was it a poster on the wall? Was it the TV scenes that you mentioned? Or was it a magazine? Where did you first come in contact with the Lamborghini brand?
The first time I actually saw a Lamborghini, not in person, was in a picture in a magazine at a grocery store. And honestly, it was a diss. It was somebody dogging somebody for having the car. Maybe it was a book about wives. I know it wasn't a male, it wasn't a car book. It was something else. And they were saying, is he compensating for something? That kind of joke. You hear that a lot. But that's the first time I saw one, but I didn't think much about it. Then Miami Vice, the whole, and I can't remember if it was Wesley Snipes, what bad guy it was that had that black Lambo, that black on tan Lambo with the wing. It was sick. And when I saw that one, I had both posters on my wall initially, the Testarossa and the Countach. Then I only had the Countach. I had the 87, the 88, 88. They had an 88 and a half or something. I don't know what the hell that was, but I skipped that one. And I went right to the 89. And then, nothing else until the Diablo. So it really was probably Miami Vice that made me just fall in love with it. And then when you hear people like Jay Leno, I'm a big fan of Jay Leno. When you hear people, I knew he was throwing a hint when he said this. He's driving some normal looking exotic, right? It just looked like it was smooth, it blended in. Who the hell wants an exotic that blends in? That's the dumbest shit I ever heard. But Jay Leno said, I hate when exotics look like spiders, look like insects. Are you kidding me? That's what I do like about exotics. When it looks, give me the doors going up and wings. And to me, that's the whole point. If an exotic does not make a 10-year-old pee on himself, it ain't working. He did say that. He said he doesn't want his car to look like an insect coming down the street.
Okay.
That's what he actually said. If you ever meet him, you remind him, because I watch his show quite often. And he did say it, and my feelings were hurt. I love his collection.
Do you ever watch his show, Anthony?
Yes. Oh,
Him
all
and
the
I have-
time. All the
Him and I have
time.
done like 10 episodes together.
Really?
Yeah.
You
so how
ask
could
him.
Say,
You ask him.
if he, within the past few years, just got a smartphone, he was on a flip phone before. If I thought he had Zoom, I would dial him into this call right now.
Oh, I would tell you to you dial him in. You call him on a regular phone. He knows he said it. And I forget what car he was driving. It was another exotic that was, let's keep it real. It was mundane. Okay? It was
Okay.
pedestrian. Exotic's not supposed to be pedestrian. Okay? I'm sorry. I don't want to blend in, although I did own a 612. But other than that,
When we finish this conference, I'll send Jay a text just to give him a laugh that we were talking about him.
yeah.
Have you been down to his garage yet?
Never been to his garage, man. I've seen so many of his shows. He does have, the Lamborghini that's worth the most money, of course. He does have that one, but it doesn't look like an insect, so that's probably why he has it. But
Which one is that?
God damn, the original, the 63.
Mira?
The Mira, yeah, he has a Mira.
Okay.
Isn't it silver?
No, he has an orange one and a yellow one.
Oh, he has two. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Are you a
He's
fan of the
Jay Leno.
Mira?
Not really.
No, why
Not really, because
You're the first person to ever say that, aside from a hater.
I'm not a classic dude. I'm not into classics
Okay.
that much. Now, I did see a 1947 Lincoln drop top, black with red guts. Oh my God. Now that, I I know it drives like a log truck, but I would pose in that one. I'd have the
Okay.
top down, be on the freeway going 27 miles an hour with my middle finger hanging. That's it. But other than that, I like the new stuff. And
Okay.
if I was a collector, I would do what Jay's doing. If I
Okay.
could afford it. Because Jay got a couple dollars laying around somewhere. That man tours 210 days a year, he said. He said that on Bill Maher, night before last.
Jay is one of the hardest working people I know.
Yeah, and a good dude.
So-
He's a good dude. I'm a big fan. I would love to hear him off camera. He would never do it on camera, I think. Tell me the story about why he wouldn't even say the name Ferrari on television for years. He would not even own one. If he did, you didn't see it. I can't wait to hear that story. If I ever meet him, if we're one-on-one, I want to hear that story.
Well, let's get together again down in Southern California, Anthony, and we'll go over there after Joy comes back. After Joy comes back from Thailand, Jay's a cool guy.
I will
and-
drive down there for that. Seriously.
Okay.
Jay
I'll
Leno,
send-
the
yeah.
garage. Oh, that dude, he's like my hero.
Okay, I'll set it up, but first you have to watch the episodes that Jay and I did together.
Yeah, I got to watch them, man. I thought I saw them all, but, I'm busy sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen him looking. You can always tell when he doesn't like a car also. Jay has this thing where he walks around the car and you're talking about it, he's going, yeah. And he got his hand in his pockets.
Yeah. I've seen. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, and he interrupts and he goes to the trunk. Oh, let's look at the trunk. I said, Jay doesn't like this car, But when you have his collection, it happens. It happens.
Yeah, Jay's like you. He's the real deal when it comes to car enthusiasm and knowing about the cars, and he's the real deal.
He knows a lot about them. Now, I'm not as enthusiastic as he is because I have so many other hobbies. Electronics is one, and I love building shit. When I put these two on something, I build stuff. I don't mean clay bust and stuff like that. I actually, my dad was, a wingman at Boeing's. So, yeah. So he gave me some tools early. I was like, what the hell am I gonna do with a hand punch? You'll figure it out. And sure enough, I use it every day now. So, yep. Jay Leno, hey man, I'm holding you to this.
Okay. Jay's going to see this video, so.
Ask him, he said it. I don't like my cars to come down the street looking like an insect. I'm like, that's the exact opposite of me. But now Jay's a smart car buyer. Leave this on tape too.
Right.
I'm kind of a dumb car buyer. And what I mean by that, you don't buy a brand new car expecting for the value to go up unless you bought maybe LaFerrari, right? But I ain't buying no old car that drives like a metro bus just to say I'm making money on it. I can make money doing other stuff. I don't need my car to earn me, 10%. No, I don't give a damn. Give me something new, let it depreciate, and then in 3 years, I'll just sell it and get another one. That's how I do it. Really stupid, but that's what I do.
So I'm curious, Anthony, you obviously know many more celebrity musicians than I do. Are there any out there that come to mind that are friends of yours or not friends of yours that are also real car guys, like we're talking about with like Jay Leno, yourself? Or are these other famous musicians, are they just status, icons for them, or, just some bling for them to have in their garage to show off to their friends?
I don't know. That's a good question because there's a lot of them that I know Drake, has a LaFerrari, but I'm not going to say he's not a car guy because I never talked to him about cars. Ice-T, who's a good friend of mine, we've talked about everything but cars, but he had a lot of cars. He got a couple of McLarens and Porsches and Ghosts and Wraiths and all that stuff. So, but I don't know. Usually when you have 2 or 3 cars that most people don't know how to pronounce, if you had a few of those, you're probably a real car guy. But when everything you do is like, I got to have a Wraith, whatever rappers say, if you go buy it, you're already late. I don't remember too many rappers saying, when I was saying Diablo, they were saying 6'4" Impalas. True shit.
That is true. Looked at the music videos from back then.
Yep. I was the only one on the exotic thing. Now, it didn't mean I had the most money, But I remember when Lil Wayne and Birdman had that Bugatti, I was jealous. Like, oh, come on, bro, just let me drive it around the block. I did get to drive a Bugatti though. I don't know, it just pisses me off, but I really enjoyed it. I drove the Grand Sport.
Okay.
And I actually on a track, Butch allowed me to take that 1,000 horsepower needle and go, oh my, the sound just is like riding a ride. The Ferris wheel, the old school, this thing called a roundup when it goes up, and then when it comes down, it goes, oh, get off the gas on a Bugatti and listen to that. I'm like, God damn it. I would pay big money just to use one of those for a day. And all I would do is run around town going 40 miles an hour and accelerating and getting off the gas. All day. I love that shit, man.
Yeah, we're Lamborghini guys, but I do agree with you. The local dealer here to me, Lamborghini Troy, is a part of the Suburban collection. They have a Bugatti dealer. And in 06 or 07, I got to go in one of the earlier Bugattis, and it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I like it. But a lot of exotic people don't like it. I don't really get it. I loved it. Now, I don't know, when you look at the service intervals, yeah, that's when I realized, okay, I'm not quite in that tax bracket. Your service, if you have to replace the rims, you could buy a used Ferrari. Think about that for a minute. One rim's like 65 grand or something like that. I don't know. I'm probably exaggerating, but or maybe all the rims are 65. Maybe that's it. I know it's crazy money to service it though.
Either music, cars, projects.
Musically, I here's what I know I have to do. I've surrounded myself with some younger cats who are telling me, dude, you need to make videos and put them out because you don't talk. People don't hear you talk. So they think you're just a dude that sits around slobbering over butts all day. So I guess I'm gonna start doing more content.
Okay.
I mean, right behind us, I got like this $2,000 light I bought. Right, I got one camera over here. I got a Blackmagic 6K coming, and I don't even use it. So I need to start using it. And I'm gonna start putting content out. It has nothing to do with trying to make money, nothing to do with this whole remain relevant thing. I never have really understood. What do you mean remain relevant? Relevant to who? I think I just want to do it because there's some misunderstandings out there about me and what I do. And although I usually don't care about proving myself, now it's gonna be fun for them cats that say, he don't do this, he don't do that, he can't do this, he can't do that. I heard a person say, and I'm not going to say her name because she's an incredible pop artist, love her, she's dominating the game, but she was not the first artist to record a whole album at home. No, I'm not saying I was the first, but she damn sure wasn't the first because in 1983, I recorded a 4-track single. It sounded terrible, but I recorded singles at home. Swass primarily recorded at home. Seminar recorded at home. Mac Daddy recorded at home. Every single album, Chief Bootnaka recorded at home. Seminar recorded at home. Daddy's Home recorded at home. Every album I've ever done has been recorded at home. And so when I hear that, because I built my first studio by myself. I found some old MCI tape machines, had some problems in the power supply area, fixed them myself, and I got them for like both of them back in that era for 10 grand, both in that era. I just fixed them myself. I mean, this stuff I got in here, I got the Avid S6. As soon as it got off the boat, I was like, I want one. Yeah, so I'm a gear slut, and this studio is kind of junky in here right now. Yeah, bought the new Roland Phantom 6, and that Phantom 6 is a beast, got a full Pro Tools system. So I'm gonna start showing this stuff and letting cats know what I do. They ain't gotta like it, but they go, oh yeah, he does do more than just look at butts. Oh yeah. And Baby Got Back is not about butts. That's the problem, that young people believe it's about butts, which means that the song worked. But any woman of color in that era And you know why I was taking shots at Cosmo, because Cosmo tried to define ethnic beauty. They wanted women to assimilate to whatever they considered the norm to be.
Yeah, which was really thin at the time. I mean, unhealthily, an unhealthy version of thin.
Like heroin addicts. That's what they looked like then.
Yeah.
And I wanted to, if you listen to the words, there's a reason I say, give me a sister. I can't resist her. Red beans and rice didn't miss her. That's what I'm talking about. And if you notice in the video, the start of the video, there's two Valley girls dissing this black girl who was on a pedestal. The two Valley girls were looking up. She was on the pedestal, revolving like a queen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a slut, a complete whore. So when you look at me in the video and the guys, we're looking up at her. We were trying to get to her. That was all done by design. That was an idea I had before I met the director. And the director likes to tell people he thought of that. I'm like, no, you did not. Because when I got there, the girl on the pedestal was dressed like a prostitute. I'm like, what is this? It was like gold chains and a tiger dress. No, I didn't want that. So some people think all he talks about is butts, but that song was a tongue-in-cheek poke at pop culture. And once people figured out what it was, mysteriously MTV banned it. They say, yeah, they banned it, but they'll tell you, well, we regulated it to 9 o'clock play. But it was real funny because I watched MTV all day for like a month straight and I didn't see Baby Got Back again.
Right.
Maybe it was when I went to the bathroom.
Yeah, see, that's what I remember when the song came out. It was on MTV, and then after a certain point, they said that it was only on after 8 or 9 o'clock.
Right, and I never saw it after 8 or 9 o'clock. But I remember when this happened, and I always like to tell this story because it did happen. This is true. My manager and I were at a restaurant in Beverly Hills, right, eating some stuff we couldn't stand, but we looked cool eating it, that kind of stuff. So we're at this restaurant in Beverly Hills, and we get a phone call. And the phone call came from, well, actually, let me rewind a little bit. One of the people at the meeting was from Polygram, who I had my publishing deal with. And she said, so what's it like being banned from MTV? I'm like, when did I get banned from MTV? Oh, you didn't know? That's how I found out about it. I'm at a restaurant celebrating success, right? So I'm scared. I'm terrified. I think my career's over because back then, I think radio and MTV had way too much power.
Yeah, there's no YouTube.
Right. There was nowhere for an artist to actually reach directly to their fan base, right? So I'm thinking it's over. So then we get a call from Heidi Robinson, who was doing a lot of the marketing and promotion stuff for Rick Rubin at Deaf American. That's what it was called then. Heidi says to me, and I never will forget it, I'm about to cry on the phone. She's happy. And I'm like, okay, why is she happy? And I'm about to cry. And she goes, Mix, you may not know this. It took me a minute to understand what she said. She said, you're Elvis Presley and you shook your leg one too many times on the Ed Sullivan Show. Goodbye. I get off the phone and I thought about that comment. I'm like, oh shit, I'm the forbidden fruit now. And the rest is history. I mean, that's literally, I always wonder if that thing had stayed number one for another 5 or 6 weeks, would I have become, corny? Would I have been Milli Vanilli? But I think people started to understand what that song was about. And if MTV did get the complaints they said it was demeaning to women. I would be willing to bet you it was mostly men that said that. I put money on it that it was mostly men that said, oh yeah, it was degrading to women, because black women and men were like, about time. Should have been said a long time ago. And keep in mind, at the time, a lot of brothers was calling all our women bitches and hoes. Not me. I've never, ever called a sister no bitch on no record. Period. I don't address women that way. I never have, never will. Me Too movement or not, I don't do it.
Yeah,
unless we're having sex and we like it. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, in that sense, you were a lot different than the other musicians, in the early 90s with regard to how women were treated in the lyrics of the music.
I'm not knocking cats because anybody from the hood knows when these cats are saying bitch, that's talk.
Yeah.
Right? That's talk. I get it. But the woman that raised me, I couldn't do that and then face her. My mom was a nurse at the King County Jail, bruh. You hear what I'm saying? Yes, the King County Jail. And every day she took her 38, stuffed it down in her purse, and walked to the bus stop like this. Every day, holding, I can't, if you can see this, yeah, like this, holding her gun, getting on the bus, going down to the jail, checking the gun, going in and working 8 hours. Sometimes, and when she had the second job, she'd get out of that, get on the bus and go out and work at a nursing home for 4 hours, then come home. So that ain't no bitch. And so I just decided I ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna knock other people because let me be real. I will sing along to some Too Short all day long. So this is just one of my little personal things I don't do. But bitch, what are you smoking? A big fat beep in the big East Oakland. I'm a big Too Short fan, right? So I'm not trying to tell cats what to say. I'm just saying that for me, if I had done that, I know my mom, right at the door, she would have checked me. So I just never did it.
Is Too Short still down in Atlanta, or is he back on the West Coast?
I don't know. Last time I saw him, he was in Oakland.
Okay.
We was having some barbecue. We saw him. Yeah, that was a long
Nice.
time ago. I'm gonna tell you, man, Too Short. I tell you, this probably wouldn't make the show, but I'll say it anyway. I remember the first time I performed outside of Seattle. Well, the second time. First time I was kind of pampered. It was the perfect crowd. They loved me. Second time it wasn't Oakland, someplace called the Scottish Rite or Scottish Rite, something like that in the Bay. Maybe it was Oakland. And I'm opening for this dude named Too Short that I didn't know at the time. Like you're talking mid 80s, early 80s. And I'm like, who is this Too? I'm cocky because I had this song, Square Dance Rap. So I'm thinking, I should be closing behind the Rolling Stones. That's what I thought. Too Short blew my ass away. You hear me? Too Short had the crowd so riveted that I'm not exaggerating. Me, my boy Maharaji, Kid Sensation, them walked through the crowd to leave, and nobody even said, "Can we get an autograph, bruh?" Nothing. That's how that Too Short blew me off stage. You talk about getting humbled. That's when I realized that, okay, yeah, I need to get back to Seattle with my tail between my legs and get back to work because Square Dance Rap ain't made me no platinum artist. I gotta put some work in. And that was really humbling. I learned a lot from a lot of the people I toured with, NWA and Ice-T and especially Public Enemy, Chuck D. Those guys are like heroes of mine for various reasons, all of them.
Now, you did some stuff with DJ Magic Mike, right?
Yeah, Magic Mike, that's my dude. Yeah, down in Florida. He is actually, in my eyes, not that he told me this, but from my perspective, he's the father of bass. Now, don't get me wrong. People describe music as bass. Y'all know what I'm talking about. What they call it now is just, it can be 4 on the floor house music. They call that bass. Oosh, 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 oosh. That's bass. No, I'm talking about old school Miami bass. The first time I heard it, the best I've ever heard it done was Magic Mike. Now, maybe he wasn't the first one. I'm just telling you. From my perspective, that's the first. He came to my house and taught me how to take the kick drums instead of just going boom. I was doing boom, 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 boom. That was it. That's all I was doing. He's the one that taught me how to do boom, 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 boom. Then he dropped to that sub bass. You couldn't hear it, but your shoelaces were shaking. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, Magic Mike is my guy. And I think that Magic Mike was a producer that was one artist away from megastar. I really believe that. DJ Magic Mike ain't no joke. That's my dude.
Yeah, as a teenager, I can't count how many times I listened to Feel the Bass. I mean, that was an anthem when he had some subs in the trunk. I had a hoopty with subs in the trunk.
Yes, I had 215s, baby. One of the tubes. Remember the Sono tube?
Yeah,
I had
of course.
215s with the vent. I had it in my Cadillac, and every day well, 2 or 3 times a day. Whenever I'd stop, I'd open a truck and I had to reposition it because it was, you know, turn it back straight. You know, and that, yeah, that was Magic Mike is incredible. He's still DJing too. I talked to him about 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
Yeah, good dude.
Yeah, it's good that you remain in contact.
Yeah, I got some cats that to me I've always kind of looked up to, and they gave me advice, you know, when I was crazy, or sometimes they just led by example. You know, some of the things I do on stage, you know, I learned from like Ice-T and Chuck D. You know, I mean, professionalism. I learned that from a few actually rock artists. In the negative though, that's why I'm not saying names, because they didn't show up on time, late to sound check, you know, screaming on the microphone, cupping it like this, squealing. It was a couple of rock groups I went on, did a couple of shows with. I'm like, I ain't gonna do that, because you could see, because I'm a businessman and I'm looking at the promoter, and the guy that's paying for this show is seriously disappointed because they suck. They were contracted to do an hour and a half. They did 45 minutes, that kind of stuff. I said I would never do that. So when I get booked, 99% of the people that book me, if they got the money, I show up. I show up on time, get my sound check done, you know, give me a decent place to sleep. I don't get in your way, and I'm in and out.
Yeah, you mentioned a little earlier in our chat here about remaining relevant, and your social media friends were making some comments that you need to be pushing out more content and stuff like that. I think with your authenticity, you will always be relevant. However, there are some young people that might not know a lot about you, and you have a lot to share with your car passion, your work in music. So there's plenty of content that you can push out there and attract the younger group, but you'll always be relevant with your authenticity. I think that you got that.
The way you said it is the way they said it, and that's when it finally made sense to me. But when somebody says, you know, dude, you want to remain relevant. Well, what is relevant? How do you define that? Relevant to who? First of all, because, you know, some things that are very relevant to some people, like reality shows, not too relevant in my world, but very relevant in pop culture. So I think we have to try to always aim at the masses only assures you'll eventually fail. And when most artists go away forever, it's because they died trying. In other words, they were scratching to get little kids when they were 60 years old. It's like, the hell are you thinking about, dude? You're 60 years old. So be cool at 60. Be a cool 60-year-old cat, or whatever your age is, 50 years old, whatever you are. Be a cool old cat, because Samuel L. Jackson is cool as hell. You know what I mean? I mean, Samuel Jackson, it don't matter. Have you seen Shaft? That's got to be the funniest movie I've seen in the last 10, 15 years. Funny as hell. But, you know, it's so, but when they said it like you said it, they said, no, dude, you don't have to go out and try to be a little kid. But there's a lot of little kids that if they saw what you do and saw how you think, and you were able to talk to them, even if they didn't buy your records, they'd be interested in the videos, especially when I talk about the music business and branding and leveraging yourself. And because I really do believe that you build a brand and the brand is worthless until you leverage it against something else. And I don't care what that is. It can be cars or whatever. If you don't, Lamborghini gets to a certain level and they're there and they're the king of the mountain, then what? If you just sit there and go, okay, we reached our peak and we'll just keep doing this forever, you'll fall. But if you leverage that, which is why I like brand association. I like when brands do charitable events. I like when brands associate with something meaningful and put some real meat and potatoes to it. That's a brand that's going to be relevant forever, in my opinion.
I agree. And that was one of the reasons why we put you on the list for these video calls we've been doing. We know that charity is important to you. And one of the discussion topics was just to create awareness for a worthy cause. So the CDC has a foundation set up, and the Lamborghini Club America has created a teen page on the CDC Foundation website. And we're asking fellow Lamborghini owners to make donations to help the cause with the pandemic that's going on. And we'll put that link in the description of this video. But that was something important for us to bring across. You know, we have some cool things to share our conversation here, But the main point of the discussion was to provide some stories and some fun for people sitting at home during the pandemic, and also some awareness for this foundation.
Explain to me where the money goes again. People like to hear that.
Yeah, of course. So what they're trying to do, or what they are doing, is they're pushing ahead with lab capacity, lab supplies, and all of the hot needed things right now that are at the top of the news for what you mentioned, hospitals that aren't funded that well. And I believe that you have some local business owner friends that are contributing to the cause in your local area.
Exactly. I wanted you to say that. I wanted you to repeat that because,
of course,
as you know, the CDC lately is being politicized. It's all of a sudden, the CDC picks a political party now. What are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense at all. It's the Center for Disease Control. So I think it's important that people realize that no matter what your politics, your money is not going to a political party. Very important that you guys understand. It's not going to a political party. It's actually going to try to fix this problem. And I think I'm going to donate, put it that way. Let me be the example. I'm going to donate, number one. Number two, I'm glad you brought up my buddy. Scott Whitehead has been a friend of mine since he was 17 years old. I met him in 1986 or 7, something like that. It's been a long time now. And he owns a company called Benchmark Motoring. He hates he hates me doing this because he's not doing it because he wants people to know who he is, but he does nothing but exotic cars. He has a brand called Scrape Armor. And Scrape Armor is insane. It's undergarment for your car. So when you hit something, boom, you don't tear up your car, you just hit that. And it's not a big old slab of plastic that adds 500 pounds to your car. Trust me, I got it on my car right now. And it's aerodynamic. It maintains the existing aerodynamic of your car. It's done right, not some guy sitting there like me with a hacksaw and a bunch of rivets. That's not it. So anyway, I digress a little bit. But he stopped. I mean, I went to his shop. He has McLarens, Ferraris, Lamborghinis sitting, waiting to be done. But all the customers agreed, hey, we'll hold off. He took his CNC machines and started initially making a few face masks, making a few face shields, and a few more. And he gave them the Evergreen Hospital. They wanted more, so he did 1,000. He needed to up his capacity. He got up to 1,000 a week. And then the people that sold him his laser, his CNC laser and stuff, they donated machines. And this type of patriotism it's infectious. He's trying to get up to 100,000 a week. And he's almost there. I mean, it blows my mind. He's been working. And when I say sun up to sundown, I mean 6 o'clock in the morning, he's texting me, I'm on the way. Midnight, he's still there. You have to tell him to go home. And I'm very proud of him. They did a story up here on Cairo News. There's a guy named Get Jesse. It's a show up here. And he kind of writes wrong businesses, but this is one he had to do with Scott. And Scott's a good dude. And I knew he cared, but you really don't. People can talk about caring, but he's showing it, not talking about it. And he is gone. And I'm proud of him. I'm not asking for any donation. He's not asking for any donation. He doesn't want anything. I'm telling you the story because this is a dude that's not asking anybody to help him or nothing. He's just helping somebody, totally selfless, and it's infectious. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to donate some money to this cause for the CDC because I do think that work needs to continue in spite of what some people keep saying that the CDC is against somebody. No, they're about telling the truth. And sometimes science will hurt your feeling if you don't get what you want to hear.
Yeah, well put, Anthony. Thank you very much for your support for this cause. It is appreciated. And your friend that you mentioned, his work goes beyond just helping people at the hospital, which is the main cause. He's also keeping his employees working, right?
Yes, and that's the only reason. Like some of the hospitals do pay for him, pay for the shields, pay for the masks. If he can't, he just gives them to you. All that money is going to his employees. He's just trying to keep them working during this. I mean, let's be honest. I'm not interested in putting Scrape Armor on my Lamborghini right now. There's bigger fish to fry, and he gets that. And to be honest, he's taking those cars, he's moving them to the side, and he's like, hey, we got something more important to do. And they had the music blasting in there, and they're just knocking them out. They're probably doing it right now. Sunday, they're probably doing it. Monday, they'll be doing it. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, until they say we got enough. He ain't stopping. He told me that, and so far, he ain't lying.
Good story. Thank you for sharing it, and thank you for all the time this evening. It is well valued and appreciated.
So you're going to have
a pretty captive audience here. This is going to go out through our social media channel to Lamborghini owners, enthusiasts, and a lot of car people. Is there anything you'd like to say in closing? Any messages or thoughts about the car passion or enthusiasm, as a point of encouragement? A lot of people are at home, they're down right now, they're not taking their cars out. It's a different time we're in, and I'm trying to share positivity with what we're doing with these chats.
Let me be honest with you guys. I'm telling the truth when I say this. Nobody's been on the street. And yeah, we kind of like that. I mean, I got to get the happy out of the way first, because we kind of like that. And I did take mine out a couple of times. Never broke the speed limit. And we brought them home, but it didn't make us happy. Why? Because what you see when you drive those streets now, that's not what we are. That's not who we are. I didn't realize how social we were as a people here, especially in America, until I saw this. So I'm going to say something that a car guy shouldn't be telling you. F the car right now. I could care less. When something like this is going on, I'm sure most of you guys agree with me. You're probably going in the other room and grabbing your kid like this, or grabbing your wife like this. You ain't thinking about no car. You're not thinking about luxuries. I never looked at luxuries like I do now in my life. Who cares? It's irrelevant. When I hear about somebody, a couple of people, first of all, I think I had the coronavirus before it was called the coronavirus. As a matter of fact, I think a lot of people that went to CES right now, it's ain't about cars, but all you car enthusiasts, you're also family cats, or you wouldn't be wealthy. You can't just be wealthy by being a cold-blooded bloodsucker. I know people tell you can, but you cannot. So you obviously built something. You built a foundation. Well, that foundation starts at home. And my car, sitting in the garage, I start it up every now and then, got the battery on charge, because I really don't give a damn right now about luxuries. Deal with your family, and let's get back out here. Let's do a gigantic car show. It's all on Joy and Andrew. They're going to do it. Damn sure ain't going to be me. But and by the way, the CDC could use that money. And remember, it's not a political party. Okay? These cats are trying to save lives. So I'm writing a check. Are you?
So Anthony, thank you again for taking so much time in sharing your passion about cars, Lamborghini, and your enthusiasm for life in general and your positivity. I think it'll mean a lot to the people watching this video, especially during this pandemic.
Yeah, man. I mean, I appreciate it. Actually, it's kind of a release for me, because you almost, I can't speak for other entertainers, but you almost kind of feel guilty a little bit, talking about something other than this. You feel like, does anybody really give a damn about a butt right now? You know what I mean? Does anybody really care? And so it's kind of cool to get a release and be able to talk about everyday stuff and stuff like that, and then get back to go in here and watch the news and get all depressed over again.